intro.
What's
What's
up?
up, G?
Welcome to Dynamic Duo. How's everyone doing today?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. How's everybody? But,
Yeah.
but yeah, so we got a very interesting topic. One of my favorite, or I would say one of the most over the mountain peak power scaling power of the Ikari. Now, even though we probably only introduced this form once, Super Dragon Ball Super Broly. I guess when Vegeta blew Broly into the water, and he somewhat snapped, and like they were like, Vegeta, have you ever seen a Saiyan like this? He's like, tell me you brought a few sensu beans, Kakarot. No. Oh, this gotta be harder than I thought. And Broly gets big, massive, but like veins popping out his neck. I mean, this dude just turns into the Hulk, basically. And even God Vegeta, one punch to the face, and Broly just looks at him, and I'm just like, yo, even the power of God could not touch this man.
Well, Broly's a special case because whether Super or Z, he is the legend.
But yes, but still, you gotta think, God was smacking Broly around even after he was somewhat adapting to the fight. So, I mean, even though his power was rising dramatically,
Overflowing.
This man literally took a punch to the face by God Vegeta. And if that was Frieza, would have sent Frieza flying through 3 mountains.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Look, God Vegeta, just basic Super Saiyan God, probably would have towed with Golden Frieza.
I agree.
And just Broly just stood there and just looked at him and just grabbed him by the face and just threw him. Vegeta had to key blast Broly to the face to get him off of him. Like, I'm just like, yo, this is like, gives me such Dragon Ball Z legendary Super Saiyan vibes, but with base form Broly. Like, I was just like, oh. And then when he went full Wrathful against Goku. Oh. I mean, smashing Goku through mountains, grabbing him by his foot, smashing him into the ground. I'm like, this man is just putting a pummel on him that, you know, there's no telling. It's the power scaling.
All right, how about this? You remember the Raditz fight, don't you?
Who hasn't forgot the Raditz fight?
I agree. But what if instead of cowering in fear, he tried to get out of Goku's stronghold, pushed a little bit more power, and then all of a sudden, his hair spikes up, his power increases, he turns freaking feral, man. Because
okay, I could possibly see that.
Because if you give Ikari to Vegeta in the Saiyan Saga, he's just gonna kill everyone. Let's be real.
That goes with my video. What if Goku had the power of the Hikari?
Interesting.
Like, I found a video that basically would retell the story if Goku had the power of Ikari and how the whole storyline would have possibly like been different if it wasn't Broly but Goku.
All right, let's try. You can screen share it, man. Let's see it.
All right, let me see.
And while we're waiting on that, have you seen the Dragon Ball Super Broly superhero movie? Excuse me.
Yes, I saw the superhero movie.
And you know the manga's making an adaptation of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're doing manga adaptations.
I may have to look into that. I haven't really been caught up with the manga and until like the Black Frieza saga.
I feel you.
But here it is, basically. It should be able to share.
And Kami is about
Oh,
to cut off Goku's tail, but realizes that maybe he can use it to his advantage. If Goku were to somehow gain control of the transformation, Piccolo wouldn't stand a chance. But there is the problem of turning into a giant monkey. He thinks for a moment before getting an idea. Maybe Goku can control this power in his base form. This allows for Goku to keep his tail for the time being. Kami brings back the Dragon Balls, which leads to the arrival of Krillin, Roshi, and Chaozu. Goku then does the normal training, but Kami also makes him do more self-control activities alongside meditation for the Great Ape. Over a year of training later, Kami believes Goku is ready to try the Great Ape transformation, and it's practically the perfect time because the full moon is up. Goku transformed, and he tries to gain control, but because he has no experience, he loses it right away. Kami tries to communicate with him, but since Goku can't hear him up front, Kami enters
I have a challenge for all of you. Go to
No.
every computer in your house, your mom's, your dad's,
No
your
one
sister,
cares
your
about
brother's
Mr.
computer.
Beast.
his mind trying to talk him through being able to control his power. Goku tries harder, and the ape stops moving, as it looks to be in control. That is until he slaps Kami. For a second, Goku was able to gain control, but after that, he lost it again. From behind, Popo takes out Goku's tail, which then allows for him to power down to his human, or Saiyan state, and lose consciousness. A few years pass, and Goku tries the transformation every month or so. Every time, he gains control for longer, until one day, he's able to do it. Kami came up with a method in which he projected Goku's loved ones in his mind. The one that worked was him and Krillin training. Great if Goku smiles, and then even slightly talks, and was finally able to gain control. This is about 3 years into the training. The other 2 years are spent being able to control this power in his base. Kami has an idea to how this could work better. He goes down to Capsule Corp to talk to Bulma, who thinks it's King Piccolo and freaks out. But Kami explains who he is and tells her to work on a Blitzwave machine. I don't think he would say Blitzwave, but something along those lines. In a few weeks, Bulma comes up with a mini device, which acts as a Great Ape transformer. When projected onto a Saiyan with a tail, it starts to turn them into a Great Ape, as we saw in GT with Vegeta, except this one is probably going to be portable and not a tank. Kami projects this on Goku, and as he starts to transform, Goku starts to breathe, close his eyes, trying to prevent himself from getting bigger. His eyes turn yellow, his ki starts to go up and back down, until finally a calm figure settles in. Not a Great Ape Goku, but a base Goku, who had unlocked his Ikari or Wrathful state. Now this doesn't mean Goku is in full control. This form comes with a lot of rage building up inside of Goku, and he doesn't act like himself sometimes, lashing out. But Goku slowly starts to gain control. While not perfecting it, he's able to access it at will. One downside of all this training with the Great Ape and trying to control it is that he has less time to actually increase his base strength. Instead of a max power level of 345, he's at 320, which might not seem like a lot, but is weaker than Piccolo's base. Speaking of Piccolo, he is not the same as in canon. Sensing Goku losing control and getting 10 times stronger every now and then pushes him to get stronger as well. Originally, he
I
knew
can
what he was
see that.
fighting and trained accordingly. Here, he also knows what he's fighting, something far stronger. I would put Piccolo's base power level at about 600. Now it's time for the tournament, and Goku reunites with the Z Fighters. Both Goku and Piccolo share a smug smirk before it starts. Chatu still messes with the numbers, so Goku goes up against King Chappa, and is able to easily knock him out, even with the lower power level. The next notable fight is Goku versus Chi-Chi, in which Goku still proposes, and Chi-Chi accepts. Piccolo versus Krillin is more than one-sided. With Piccolo's much higher power level, he lays waste to Krillin in seconds. Kami still participates as Shen, because while he knows Goku has this new power, he still wants to try and seal Piccolo away, to avoid it all. He wins his fight against Yamcha. Goku and Tien's fight goes pretty much the same, except Goku struggles more, and when all four Tiens rush at him, he actually has to power up an Ikari for a quick second, followed by taking all four of them out in the blink of an eye. This doesn't go unnoticed by Tien or Piccolo. The Shen and Piccolo fight still results in Kami actually being sealed, and leads to the final match between Goku and Piccolo. Goku already has his weights off, but Piccolo keeps his turban on, wanting to gauge his and Goku's power levels. They start out evenly, but as Piccolo starts to turn it up, it becomes more one-sided, and Goku gets knocked around. Piccolo lands a combo of moves, sending Goku upwards with a kick, followed by using his flying to land a flurry of punches midair. Piccolo ends it with a kick which sends Goku crashing into the ring, creating a crater. While bloodied and bruised, Goku gets up, smirking. Piccolo doesn't want to take Goku down, knowing he isn't using his full power, so he tells Goku to hurry up and power up already, and so he does. As Goku starts to power up, a yellow-greenish aura appears around him, and his eyes turn yellow. Now in Ikari, Goku follows by landing his combo to Piccolo, but first kick him across the arena. Piccolo spits up blood, and as he looks to counter, Goku is nowhere to be found. Appearing above him, Goku elbows the back of his head, which knocks the turban off. He then kicks Piccolo upwards, and while he can't yet fly, his jumping ability allows for him to remain in the air for a considerable amount. He uses the punch to make Piccolo spit up Kami's bottle, and then kicks him downwards into the same crater he was thrown in. Piccolo tries to use an attack which will blow the arena and Goku up, but Goku appears behind him once more, using the 1-inch punch that sends Piccolo down for a minute. He then opens up Kami's bottle, releasing him. But while distracted with that, Goku doesn't notice Piccolo, and as he turns around, he sees a much bigger version of him. Piccolo used gigantification, and this originally gave him a 60% boost in power. In this version, he's boosted to 960. With him being much stronger, he tries to get Goku down, but Goku's at a power level of over 3000. He's still able to easily dodge every attack and launches upwards, kicking Piccolo, which makes him collapse and fall out of the ring. His rage takes over and he nearly kills Piccolo, but that's when Krillin tells him to stop, saying that would take out the Dragon Ball. Goku's back in the thick again and powers down from Ikari, as he flies off with Chi-Chi. They later have Gohan, and from Earth, Goku tries to teach Gohan to gain control over his Grade 8 power. Gohan doesn't learn Ikari or anything. He just slowly gains control over Grade 8. He's close to doing so by the end of the 5 years of peace, but not just yet, as he is a kid. The reunion occurs, and unlike usual, no one is freaked out about Gohan's tail, because they all know about Grade 8. Raditz shows up to interrupt, and that goes pretty much normal, except he doesn't have any luck taking Gohan. Goku gets in front of him in Ikari, and catches the fist, telling him to stand down. Raditz remarks that his power level just increased tenfold. Perhaps this is a Grade 8 form, but he also questions how Goku was able to use it in his base. This is answered, but rather met with a fist. Raditz realizes that he has no chance against a Grade 8, big or not, so he throws an artificial moon and turns into a Grade 8 himself, fighting Goku. While his Grade 8 is stronger, Goku's is smaller and is able to move around better, which allows for their fight to be...
Welcome to your personal port, Captain. Choose a ship and click
more so even. Goku's able to get up to Raditz's face, then kicks him downward. But as he falls, he grabs Goku and grabs him in the grass, tightly. After some struggle, Goku gets up, and they go back and forth for a while. Piccolo then shows up and realizes he has to help Goku, if he even wants a chance at taking over the Earth one day. Piccolo knows he can't beat Raditz in his base either, so he grows giant. In the 5-year gap, his base increased to 800, which is then increased by 60% for the gigantification boost. That puts Piccolo at 1280. With the combined efforts of Goku and Piccolo, they managed to cut Raditz's tail off, and with the Super Kamehameha, Goku kills him. Before dying though, Raditz explains that 2 more Saiyans, many times stronger than him, will come to take over this planet. Piccolo then kills Raditz for good. Now, things that change include Goku doesn't die here. Raditz uses his Grade 8 form, and Gohan is not taken by Piccolo, who leaves right after Raditz is defeated. This means he simply remains neutral for the time being, because Gohan isn't there to turn him into a good guy. A lot of you might be thinking that, well, Goku doesn't go to King Kai's planet because he didn't die. But that's not true. Him dying was just simply convenient, because it meant that Kami wouldn't have to take Goku to sneak away. He was already there. Since Raditz showed his Grade 8 form and nearly killed Goku, alongside mentioning the other Saiyans are stronger than him, Kami would still have the same worry and send Goku to King Kai's planet. Although using Ikari, Goku's able to get there twice as fast. Gohan, on the other hand, trains with Kami. Chi-Chi doesn't agree with this at first, but after realizing that Kami has all the knowledge in the world and will teach it to Gohan, she does allow it. Gohan goes through the same training as Goku did as a kid, with Grade 8 and Ikari. So he learns Ikari, although
yes, Gohan with Ikari.
So he loses it more than being able to properly use it. Goku, on the other hand, learns Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb like usual. Since it took him half the time as normal,
just imagine Kaioken with Ikari
due to him getting more training. He's also able to better learn both techniques, especially the Kaioken. He gets it up to ×4, which takes most of his time, but afterwards, realizing that there is a better way to utilize it, although his time runs out after Kami contacts him, saying the Saiyans arrived earlier than they expected. But this is any problem, as Goku makes it past Snake Way in minutes, and is there right after the group take care of the Cybermen. And Yamcha doesn't die, because the group played it smarter knowing what Raditz was capable of. Gohan gets more involved, since he's far more confident in his abilities after training with Kami. He also never went into the wild due to the lack of training with Piccolo, so he gets an extra 6 months of training. This increases his starting power in the Saiyan Saga by 50%, putting him at 2,970. Goku arrives just as Nappa starts his fight with the Z-Fighters. He takes his fighting stance staring at Vegeta, who does the same, as they smirk. A reoccurring thing with this what if is power levels, and at this point, they're still relevant. Firstly, Goku's power level would not be 8,000. It would be higher. Because Piccolo was always training, and training much harder due to him losing so badly, Goku did so as well. He couldn't take the chance of Piccolo surpassing him, and this made his power level around 700 against Raditz. Piccolo's base was stronger at the time, but after training with King Kai and the gravity, his power would have gotten the same boost as before, 19.23. We take 19.23 and multiply that by 700, which gets us to a power level of 13,461. Let's just say 13,460. Now the actual fight. Goku takes on Vegeta, and the Saiyan with the high power level starts the boost. Vegeta calls Goku out for being a low-class warrior. Goku returns the favor by saying, "If you're such an elite, then why don't you prove it?" Vegeta smirks. Taking his fighting stance in return, Goku does the same. Away from the fight, Nappa is fighting the Z-Fighters. Piccolo would still be around, and his power level would be almost twice as large as in canon. Only problem is, he'll only fight the Saiyans for his benefit. Not being with Gohan for the last year means that he would not change. He remains neutral for now, though. Rushing in the fight, Piccolo toys around with Nappa, knocking him around. To mock him, he kicks Nappa side to side, all while flying to him. The Z-Fighters have had just about enough, especially Gohan. This Piccolo character is taking too long to end the fight. Gohan is told not to, but he jumps into Ikari, barely clinging on to control. In this form, what he sees angers him even more. Gohan rushes up and blasts Nappa into oblivion for trying to hurt everybody. He falls by looking directly at Piccolo and wants to assume a fighting stance. Piccolo tells the kid to stand down, but Gohan just rushes in. While Goku's power level is 5,000 more than original, he still needs another 5,000 to match Vegeta. He charges at Goku, landing an elbow to his face. Being knocked back into rocks, Goku jumps outwards, but Vegeta's there to meet him, punching him back down towards the ground. Getting into a stalemate, Vegeta questions Goku. "Where's your power now, Kakarot?" This is followed by a kick, landing directly to Goku's midsection, making blood splat out of his mouth. Having had enough, Goku starts to power up. Still not wanting to go all out, he only powers up into Kaioken times 2. But this is almost equivalent to Kaioken times 3 as in the original. Vegeta is shocked by the power at display, and is extremely worried. While he can't sense ki, he does notice Goku's power level spike and buff up. So Vegeta is really scared. Goku charges at him, and as Vegeta goes to block, suddenly Goku isn't there anymore. Appearing on top of Vegeta, he lands a stuttering kick, reminiscing of the one he received earlier. Vegeta powers up further, but even at his max power level of 20,000, he isn't a match to the Earth-raised Saiyan in front of him. Angered, Vegeta decides to go all out or nothing. Trying to get a surprise hit off Goku, he flanks him and is able to go up towards the sky. Not knowing what he'll do, Goku awaits. However, what comes next isn't a dash towards the ground. It's a Gallic gun meant to destroy the Earth. The mercy of Goku's face disappears, and he prepares a Kamehameha. As the two blasts collide, Goku's overpowered, but not wanting to give Vegeta even a chance to destroy the Earth, he powers up an Ikari and pushes it back at such speed that Vegeta is hit. He falls unconscious. Just then, Goku notices 2 spikes of power away from his fight. Gohan and Ikari is enraged and attacking Piccolo for petty reasons. While Gohan has power, Piccolo far surpasses him in every other manner. He's able to use Gohan's anger against him, but that doesn't mean Piccolo goes unharmed. Every hit Gohan lands hurts and makes him bleed, but he mostly avoids what looks to be the killing blows. Eventually, Gohan gets tired out and falls from the Ikari transformation. Piccolo's about to knock him out when Goku arrives and grabs his hand. The two start to squabble, and in that time, Vegeta wakes up, throws an artificial moon, and becomes a great ape. In the distance, the Z-Fighters can see the giant beast roaring in the sky. They all look at each other and fly towards it. Goku obviously knows about the great ape at this time. He trained with it, he trained Gohan with it, and he fought Raditz, who was using it. This also means they know the weak spot from the beginning. While Goku and Piccolo fight the beast, the others will try and cut the tail off. As soon as the fight begins though, Vegeta slaps down Piccolo to the ground, and just as he's about to step on the Namekian, Goku and Ikari stops him and flips him upside down. While Goku and Ikari also would get a 10 times boost, remember, he still isn't as strong as Vegeta's base, so his 134.7k power level is met with a 180,000 power level. With Piccolo knocked out and heavily injured, he's alone. But wait, there's Gohan. Powering up a new Ikari alongside his father, the two start to fight the ape. Having the power boost and being smaller will obviously help them maneuver around the ape better than the ape can move and travel around them. This gives them an advantage. Krillin at the distance is preparing a Kienzan, and both Tien and Yamcha sneak behind Vegeta, grabbing his tail. Being that he's busy fighting with Goku and Gohan, he doesn't have the time to pay attention to others. By then it's too late though, because with Chaozu's telepathic abilities, they're able to stop Vegeta for just a split second, allowing Krillin's Kienzan to slide right through. But just before the ape goes down, he jumps onto Chaozu and crushes him. And he's not the only casualty. While they were fighting, Vegeta made sure to pummel Piccolo's corpse, which means Kami's also dead, which means the Dragon Balls are gone. Tien immediately kills Vegeta, no mercy. This forces the Z Fighters to head to Namek, something that Vegeta would surely have brought up, either against Goku or when he saw Piccolo.
Play War Thunder now.
Well, okay,
Join
I'm
millions of Prado in massive battles on tanks.
For the first.
Okay, I gotta pause it there for a minute. Okay, how do you feel about Vegeta landing on shots?
It's kind of funny.
Poor Chatsu. Poor Chatsu.
Well, at least he got a win in the end.
Yeah, well, all it took was a Dodon Ray for my boy, revenge for my boy Chatsu. But the way he killed Piccolo, so the Dragon Balls are dead. Doesn't the story make sense though?
So far.
Like, do you think Vegeta might have a chance to get Hikari now?
Maybe if they go out of their way to bring him back, but I doubt it with the way it's going.
Oh, they're going dynamic now.
Kami's ship is starting to be rebuilt and better suited for space travel. Both Bulma and Dr. Priest finish it just a little later than in canon, because they install a gravity room requested by Goku. Then they also make the ship bigger for the amount of people going. One thing that would change though is Gohan. While he's extremely powerful, Gohan can't control his power, and Goku has to bench him after being convinced by Chi-Chi. The people to go are Goku, Krillin, Tien, and Bulma to pilot the ship. It takes them roughly 30 days to arrive. In that time, they were all doing the gravity training, and here's where 30 days come into play. Originally, while training, Goku was only doing it for 6 days. Here he has 30. However, both Krillin and Tien have to catch up, and it takes a couple of days for them to get accustomed to even 10 times gravity. Slowly though, they increase, and with Goku having training partners too, it makes him stronger. I feel like this one would only go up to the 50 times, because otherwise it would be further delayed to Namek. This means that while the boost would be greater than the original, it wouldn't be a ridiculous amount. All of them would get a 12 times increase, putting Goku at 161,000, Tien at 25,000, and Krillin at 30,000. With Vegeta not on Namek, Kui would still be alive. This would still relatively be around the time Frieza is at the village. The Earth Fighters easily take out the two soldiers roaming where they are. Goku splits off to go hunt for Dragon Balls in one direction, while Tien and Krillin go the other. They run into Frieza, Dodoria, and Zarbon. Mori destroys all the scouters, and just as he does, Tien pulls out the solar flare at the perfect time. The Frieza crew is blinded, and any soldiers that aren't are killed by Krillin. They grab Mori and Dende flying off. Tien rushes back for cargo, but Frieza shoots a death beam at him, forcing Tien to flee. Because he was blinded, he missed Tien, but he was still able to hit cargo. Dodoria chases close behind, but being that they are far stronger, Tien simply launches a Kikomo that kills him. After the blind effect completely wears off, Frieza tells Zarbon to go and chase after them. On the other side of the planet, Goku is soaring through and trying to find as many Dragon Balls as possible. He comes across Frieza's ship, and doesn't know if it's a threat, so he just enters. All the soldiers point guns at him, and he tries to explain that he comes in peace, and is looking for the Dragon Ball. They aren't happy with the answers, and shoot. Big mistake though, because Goku takes them all out and ends up fighting a Dragon Ball. 3 are still with Frieza, but slowly the Z-Fighters are catching up. Goku flies out and finds another one nearby in the ocean. He then checks the radar and sees one close to him, and 3 bunched up somewhere else. He decides to check out the one near him first, and that one turns out to be the Guru's place. At the same time, Krillin and Tien arrive with Dende and Muri, and that goes pretty much the same. They all get their potential unlocked though, and this gives everyone a huge boost in power. Most importantly would be Goku, and he would be at 1.1 million. However, we know that the initial boost is not it, because as stated by Vegeta, Gohan and Krillin continued to grow stronger while the fight with Frieza was going on, leading to them putting up a better fight each time he transformed. However, Goku at 1.1 million without the big Zenkai is still not enough for him to fight Frieza. He easily takes down the Emperor in his first form, however, but Frieza has more to show, and Goku has no plans of backing down or not letting him transform. It's Goku, guys. So, Frieza uses his second form, which does a lot better, putting Frieza just short of Goku's power. However, his power is also increasing as the fight goes on. As Frieza provides a better and better fight, Goku is reaching near heights. By the time Frieza pulls out his third form, Goku has reached a power level of 2.5 million. With this increase, both of them actually even out for the time being. Frieza's raw power matches up against Goku's. While the fight continues, Nail, Krillin, and Tien gather the remainder of the 3 Dragon Balls that were grouped together, with Frieza, at a decimated Namekian village, which doesn't really make Nail happy. With this, they summon Purunga, and with the first wish, they bring back Piccolo for the Dragon Balls, and Chaozu with the second wish. With the third, Nail, unknowingly to Guru, wishes for his life to be extended, because the group didn't actually have a third wish. And Guru's life is now extended. Now remember, Guru dies around like now, but with Nail making the wish, it allows for him to live through the fight. On Earth, Piccolo finds himself awoken in the crater he was left in, stomped by Vegeta. He gets up, and doesn't sense any of the keys he normally would. No Goku or Tien. He thinks that Vegeta might have killed them, but then how was he brought back? Kami surely died with him. Piccolo does sense one familiar key though. Still, Kami's there. Back on Namek, Goku and Frieza's fight is getting serious. Frieza has finally revealed his final form, with Goku reaching the potential unlock's final strand at 3 million. Frieza is now easily winning, with a small fraction of his power. But Goku smirks, revealing he isn't going all out yet either. He once again powers up, but this time it's an actual transformation. Ikari, putting his power level at 30 million and above with the one cocky Frieza holding back at 20% of his power.
What did I say
Now
about
that's
using my
crazy.
Old Spice dry spray?
I need long-lasting freshness.
Is it the final vote?
Finally know which egg is loved most. Reese's or
A mere 24 million can't fight at 30 million. Goku's able to knock him around for a little bit, and using a Kamehameha to kill the Emperor. But Frieza is given enough time to reach his half point, 60% of his full power, doubling Goku's power. Now it's really not looking good for the Saiyan. He's out of time, out of power, and losing badly. But is he out of transformations? Rewind to the last part, where Goku arrived much earlier on King Kai's planet. He was able to get more time perfecting Kaioken, which he did do, but then worked on something else with the remainder of his time, combining Ikari with Kaioken.
What did I tell you?
The first time he tried it, his body almost died on him, but it was assurance, because it almost died on him. It didn't fully. Just like with Kaioken, he has a chance of being able to control it. The extra time on the ship was also spent working on this, and now with his high power level, he might be able to use it. Mid-fight, as he's being demolished by Frieza, Goku says something that catches Frieza's attention. Frieza smugly asks the beaten Saiyan,
What did you say, monkey?
Goku repeats,
Oh yes.
Kaioken! Frieza is pushed back from the pressure, as Goku is surrounded by a red aura covering him entirely, with his yellow eyes zooming in on Frieza. He charges from the crater Frieza had him in, and gut punches him, sending the Emperor crashing through mountains. Getting back up, Frieza decides to play no more games, and uses 100% of his power. Goku charges back towards Frieza, noticing that he had an increase in power. Repeatedly, he shouts, Kaioken times 4. His body starts to increasingly be in pain, but his power and Frieza's are even at 120 million. They start a fight, but it's clear Goku can't keep it up for long. In the distance, Tien, Krillin, Nail, and Dende show up. The 3 warriors rush in to support Goku as he falls to the ground. The strain of Kaioken times 4, combined with Ikari, was way too much for even him. So he has to be healed by Dende. Luckily, Nail, Tien, and Krillin have a tactic. They can't really take Frieza head on. He will clearly one-shot them. So they decide to keep their distance and use techniques like solar flares, ki attacks, and once Frieza's in the right position, a Kikoho. Frieza isn't being affected by the attack, so he has his fun. But when Tien's Kikoho reaches him, it pushes him downwards, causing a huge amount of pain. This was able to counter Semi-Perfect Cell, and it would be the equivalent of what's happening here. However, Tien doesn't just give his life, because Goku is healed in time, receiving a 33.333 times increase in power, putting him at a power level of 100 million. Powering up into Ikari, Goku, for the final time, charges towards Frieza and punches him miles away. Looking at everyone and giving a thank you, Goku follows until he gets in Frieza's face and repeats his finishing move, which did not do the job last time. Kamehameha. Frieza's evaporated. No chance. The group have won. On Earth, Piccolo reaches the lookout, questioning Kami about what happened. After getting the story, Piccolo starts to laugh. Kami can read his intentions and explains that taking over Earth is not an option for him. Goku will return, and when he does, there is no way Piccolo will win. But Piccolo doesn't listen. Unknown to him, Gohan is also still on Earth. Piccolo starts with the biggest city, and destroys it pretty fast, moving to the next. and the next. Kami telepathically tells King Kai to inform the group that he will bring them to the lookout. Piccolo didn't think that far ahead. Kami makes the wish using the Dragon Balls, and Gohan confronts Piccolo. With a much better handle of his power, Gohan is able to use Ikari, sending a chilling feel to Piccolo. Scared, he runs the other way. Gohan knows not to kill the green dude, but he can rough him up, and so he does. Gohan beats up Piccolo until Goku gets there, followed by Tien, who came with a surprise, the rice cooker, which he uses to seal Piccolo for good. Tien is reunited with his best friend, and 3 years go by with peace. Goku would be continuing to train and would not reach Super Saiyan because he has no idea what it is. Therefore, he continues to perfect Kaioken Ikari, being able to reach new heights, which at the end of the day don't matter due to his deaths to the heart virus, leading into the android's attack. Everyone is killed by them. No Piccolo to help, no Vegeta to help, no Super Saiyans. It's even worse. However, the traumatic experience is more than enough to make Gohan go uncontrollably mad. He reaches Super Saiyan, which is actually not like Broly's. While Ikari is a Broly transformation, it doesn't give Gohan or even Goku Broly's power. However, there is something that could be achieved by Gohan. Through the years, Gohan still fights the androids, but with no Trunks because Vegeta's dead, there is no way for him to defeat the androids yet. The only thing he can do is use Bulma's time machine to go to the past and fix everything. He gives Goku the heart medicine and shows off Super Saiyan, as well explaining how to unlock it. 3 years of training would commence, with Goku unlocking Super Saiyan and being a shit ton stronger than he was originally. Zoro and 19 show up, with both being stronger due to his knowledge of Ikari and Goku's higher power level. But when he shows off Super Saiyan, it is so much stronger than original that 19 isn't able to put up a fight, even with energy absorption. Zoro still makes an escape, and future Gohan shows up to see different androids. Goku is attacked by the heart virus, and Gohan along with everyone else go looking for Zoro. Thinking smart though, future Gohan realizes that they won't be able to defeat the androids without his father, so they regroup at his house, where training commences until he makes a recovery. The androids are eventually confronted, but even with the much higher power levels, 17, 18, and 16 are too much for the group. Goku has the two Gohans use Super Saiyan, but 17 and 18 quickly take down Mini Gohan, while tag teaming the other two who don't have as much synergy or power to match them. Sneakily though, Cell would show up, which only makes things worse. He is unnoticed until 16 spots him and analyzes the bug. He realizes what or who he is. Jerome made him to absorb the androids, a bio-android. 16 shouts for the fighting to stop as Cell swoops in to absorb the weaker of the two, 18. However, 16 jumps in front, blocking his tail. He explains to everyone that if Cell absorbs the androids, then he will kill them all, so an unlikely alliance needs to be formed. Goku is as naive as ever, but future Gohan has some trouble with this. At the end of the day, he realizes he can deal with the androids later. They all try to tag team Cell, but this Cell is much stronger than the one in the original, and has absorbed a shit ton more people, because Piccolo fused with Kami and Nail didn't interfere with his absorbing. Cell uses a Sun Solar Flare like he did to Trunks originally, and absorbs 18. A semi-perfect Cell just made everyone's power seem inconsequential. The unlikely alliance is now not so unlikely, as they need to make sure nothing happens to 17. 16 sacrifices himself, allowing for them to escape. This is when Goku suggests the time chamber, because it's really nothing they can do but use the time chamber. Gohan, him, and future Gohan go into time.
Wait, all three of them?
Chamber, where all grades of Super Saiyan are discovered, but Gohan is reaching towards a new level of power. Something like Trunks' Super Saiyan Rage, but like Broly's Super Saiyan Ikari, which actually, if you think about it, are the same thing, however, are different concepts. Instead of Goku looking for Super Saiyan 2 in his Gohan, he instead helps his future son unlock his power. His knowledge of combining Ikari with Kaioken helps future Gohan try to use Ikari with Super Saiyan. While they were away training though, Cell wouldn't have just sat down and waited. No, he went after 17, and he knows where the lookout is, so it's not good for them. He's able to find him, and with literally no good protection, he easily absorbs his last android for perfection. Cell, however, allows for the group to train, giving them 10 days. No one else is really needed to do so except for like Tien and Krillin, who go in for maybe a day. Tien actually requests to go to King Kai's world, because he's so outmatched, and with over a week left, Kami allows him to do so. Remember, no Piccolo, so no Kami fusion. Tien makes it to King Kai's planet in like 10 minutes, so he gets a week to learn Kaioken. He's a fast learner, so he picks up on the basics and makes it back in time for the Cell games. Perfect Cell awaits for the first challenger. Cell wants to fight the strongest out of all of them. Even though he would love to crush Goku right now, if Goku isn't the strongest, then it isn't the most fulfilling fight he would get. And that's coming from the Goku part of Cell, so Goku even understands that desire. His future son is the one to step up and take on the beast. While in the time chamber, instead of helping his main timeline son achieve Super Saiyan 2, he helped future Gohan achieve Super Saiyan Ikari, a form not only achieved by Broly in the Dragon Ball Super movie, but also future Trunks in the Broly movie. Future Gohan starts out in his grade 4 Super Saiyan, much to Cell's excitement. The two start their fight in a fierce clash, revealing almost every single one of their cards. This fight would play out mostly like how Goku did with Cell, except a much greater feat of power is displayed. Gohan tries to go for the most devastating blows on Cell, using all the techniques he'd learned from the Z fighters and as well as Goku in the time chamber. He tries to use the solar flare, but Cell has Toten's DNA as well as Goku's, knowing how to counter it. Cell takes the first blow, but after that is able to tank until the effect wears off. His sensing also helps with that. Gohan expected this, however, and right after the solar flare cools down, 3 of Gohan's clones are in Cell's face, with him being overwhelmed. The real Gohan is right behind them, and as they clear, he shows up and uses a full power Kamehameha to Cell's face, much like how Goku did in the original. Half of Cell is obliterated, and it looks like he's dead, but his regeneration comes in clutch and saves him. Tired out, Cell decides no more games. He destroys the arena and declares a fight to the death between them. Future Gohan has no problem with that though. He wasn't planning on keeping Cell alive anyways. Cell is going all out now, knowing Gohan is still holding back. He uses all of his power to overpower Future Gohan and make him unleash everything he has. Cell is able to showcase some of the moves he too has inherited from the Z fighters, using Kamehamehas and multiple Super Speed Special Beam cannons, which Gohan barely dodges. But they're just distractions for the Kienzan approaching him. Gohan sees it and jumps, but Cell appears in front of him and lands a gut-shocking punch to his stomach. Gohan falls to the ground out of Super Saiyan, coughing up spit and blood. Enraged, Cell is about to kill Gohan, realizing maybe he wasn't hiding any power. He launches a point blank at Gohan's face, except it stops on contact. Gohan's aura is pushing it back. He looks up at Cell and glares, pushing the attack back towards him. Gohan activates his Ikari form on top of Super Saiyan, achieving a new transformation, amplifying his Super Saiyan form by 10 times. Now, if we do some quick maths, we know that Super Saiyan 2 is only twice the number of Super Saiyan 1. If we look at Super Saiyan grade 4, which most people believe is higher than a 50 times boost, and for that sake I will put it at 75 times, which then we multiply by the number 10, we get a 750 times boost, and with this power, which is greater than a Super Saiyan 3 multiplier, it's safe to assume Cell's life is going to be short-lived. Knowing this was a mistake, Cell tries to do whatever he can to survive, while Gohan is getting up. He creates Cell Juniors to attack the Z Fighters, and 2 to attack Gohan with him. They all charge and the Z Fighters all power up, taking their stand. None of them are damaged, so Goku and Gohan take care of theirs easily, with the rest of the group having a little to some trouble. Some rough sparring at best. Future Gohan is attacked by 2 full-powered Cell Juniors and Cell himself, but he's holding his own insanely well. He lands a punch to one of the Cell Juniors' face, snapping his neck, and drops a blast on the other one at point-blank range, ending his short life. Cell runs back, afraid. Now while this Gohan is different than Kid Gohan, that doesn't change the effect this form has on him. Super Saiyan 2 consumed Kid Gohan with rage, so much so that he wanted to torture Cell, and Future Gohan's power is likely even more uncontrollable. He punches Cell repeatedly, to where his face is beyond recognition. Cell coughs off 17 and 18 at the same time, and without Krillin even getting to say anything, Gohan kills both of them. Cell can't do anything in his imperfect form. He doesn't even have a chance to explode. Gohan simply fires a Kamehameha and kills the bio-android. End of that story. Afterwards, Gohan returns to his timeline and Goku stays alive. He continues to train, and they all manage to achieve Super Saiyan 2. By they all, I mean Gohan and Goku, because Vegeta's dead, and if you guys are wondering about Piccolo, watch the last part. Instead of striving for Super Saiyan 3, the next many years Goku has, he strives for Super Saiyan Ikari.
Okay, that was just a little sneak peek, of kind of what I wanted to go over, I would per se. Now, how everything has caught up, what is your opinion?
Well, Vegeta's going to stay dead. Piccolo might become Majin in the Buu saga. But other than that, I think Super Saiyan is going to take over and Ikari is going to be less relevant.
Or do you think Goku's going to be more like Broly in the Super movie?
No.
I mean, with Super Saiyan 2, what if you make Super Saiyan 2 with Hikari?
He could, but he would just go berserk at that point.
Or Super Saiyan 3 and Hikari.
Let's find out.
I have no idea. Oh wait, where? Let's bring this up.
Realizing that power even surpasses Super Saiyan 2 by a lot. He tries to get Gohan to learn too, but he isn't interested. After forcefully learning Super Saiyan 2, Gohan gave up and resorted to studying. Goten is still born, and he would be born with Ikari, much like how Gohan was. Having experience with himself and 2 Gohans on how to control the power, Goku teaches Goten at a young age. He also teaches him Super Saiyan, which Goten gets in a snap. SLs are a handy bunch of things. Now, 7 years would pass by pretty quickly for us, and we move on to the tournament. Instead of seeing it as a Goku reunion thing, they just see it as a friends gathering and a fun time. But much like normal, Shin and Kibito would show up, as well as Popovich and Yamu. Without Piccolo there, no one gets any hints on who Shin is. Shin would probably end up fighting Goku instead of Piccolo, where they would question each other and not get any answers. Goku doesn't know who he is, so he doesn't forfeit the match either. Instead, he wins with minor difficulty. After the match, Shin congratulates Goku and then explains what's going to happen, who he is, and what they need to do. Gohan is held down much like normal by Shin, Popovich and Yamu who steal their energy and run off. Without Vegeta's bickering, the team is much more synchronized and easily follow directions. Dabura still kills Kibito, and they all head into the ship with the addition of Tien this time around, who replaces Vegeta. Goku, Gohan, and Tien do rock, paper, scissors, which leads to the same order, and Tien replaces Vegeta like I mentioned, so he would be the one to fight Pui Pui, and he beats him with a little difficulty. Goku still wins his match the same way, and Gohan's fights with Dabura would go mostly the same, except Gohan is the one to get the upper hand towards the end, forcing Dabura to escape. Babidi wants to take someone over, but with no Vegeta, there isn't really anyone with an evil heart. The group breaks through the floors, and Tien uses steadfast thinking to use a Neo Tri-Beam and push everyone back, killing Babidi and stunning Dabura, who is freed from the Majin effect. Don't get me wrong, Dabura is still evil, but he is just freed from the Majin effect, which isn't actually a good thing because that means he's weaker, and Gohan kills him. Boo isn't released, which saves the entire Earth from eventually being destroyed, so that's a good thing. We now move on to another time skip, toward Super. 4 years of training would pass, with Goku trying to stack Ikari with Super Saiyan 2. He doesn't know if it's possible, but if it is, the benefit would be absolutely insane. I would say the extra time he had in the 7 years, plus the 4 now, is more than enough time, even with his farming duties. By now, Goten would also have insane power. With Goku being around for the 7 years, he would probably train more often, and maybe he convinces Gohan to train. And by the way, Gohan would still meet Videl, get married, have Pan, become a scholar, all that citizen life stuff. Beerus would awaken and be on the hunt for the Super Saiyan God. You guys know the story well. He makes his way to Earth after learning of the Saiyans that defeated Frieza and stopped
300 for that and 2,000 for this, way too expensive. But today I'm going to show you guys how to get all this stuff for a lot cheaper. Okay, so first, go to one of your favorite gaming websites. Select the products you want, then click the Honey browser extension.
the revival of Majin Buu. Beerus comes to Earth and gets distracted by all the delicacies. But Goku would be on Earth instead of King Kai's, due to him not having instant transmission. So Beerus meets him on Earth. Goku would provoke him into a fight because he can't sense the God's Ki. Thinking he's a strong opponent, Goku ends up provoking him, and the two would start a fight, and Goku would use Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan would probably be as strong as the Super Saiyan 2 in the original fight, so he's stronger for sure. Beerus has fun in the fight, but he still dominates. Goku decides to go all out, and jumps into something no one has ever seen out of him before. Super Saiyan 2 with Ikari, which blows away everything at the boat and all the water around them. With a great display, Beerus expects this fight to go well, and it does. Goku puts up an amazing fight, which would impress Beerus and actually make him try. The two fight, going strike for strike, kick for kick, and bite for bite. Beerus slightly increases his power, and Goku is getting stronger as the fight goes on, so they both have a good time. However, it's not enough, and the Super Saiyan God is still required. Shannon is called, much like normal, and they find out about the Saiyan requirement. But even with Videl's pregnancy, they are still 2 Saiyans short. Beerus asks Whis to search the galaxy and find any remaining Saiyans to do the ritual with. He would have just destroyed the planet, but there's newfound hope. Whis finds 3, and at least 2 of them are pure of heart. Beerus leaves with an ultimatum. 7 days. I'll be back. Goku takes a gulp and asks Bulma to get to work on his ship, which is already done because Bulma. They go to Vampa first and find Broly and Paragus, which is an interesting confrontation. Paragus is willing to do anything to get off this planet, so he agrees to do whatever they want. Any condition they have, he'll do. The next stop is Tarble, who is canon, by the way. Whis told them the location of whatever planet there is, and Tarble is a peaceful pacifist unless needed to be otherwise. He would gladly help anyone in trouble. If we assume that the movie he had was canon, then he already knows Goku, so he would be even more inclined to help. Although he does know that one of Goku's friends killed his brother. But he also knows that his brother killed one of theirs first, actually 2 of theirs, so it's an understandable defense. With all the Saiyans gathered, The ritual is about to be performed. Goku has unlocked Super Saiyan God, but after a couple hours of moving around and sparring with Gohan in the transformation, it dissipates. However, he doesn't even notice it, because the power of the transformation has been infused within him. He goes up into Super Saiyan, which leads to Gohan stopping the fight, informing his father that the transformation had depleted. While being confused, Goku doesn't feel any different. He can still feel the power that he once had within himself. What's going on? Kami clarifies for the group. He can still sense God Ki within Goku. It's just that he hasn't been able to maintain it as the Super Saiyan God form. For this, he needs to simply train. Fortunately, they still have a day left before Beerus arrives, and the Room of Spirit and Time is looking like their best option. Goku's going to go in with Gohan, who suggests that they also tag along Broly, because he seems to have an interesting power. Gohan had sparred with Broly, noticing the sparks of Ikari within him. He wanted to test out his theory that Broly could access this power. Having already done it himself, he can help his Saiyan friend control it easily. They all go in with Broly and Gohan sparring against Goku for most of the time, trying to help him unlock the Super Saiyan God power again. Goku is dominating over them for the most part, because while not having the transformation capability, he still has the power of it. Eventually, Broly would rage out, showing Gohan the spark of Ikari once more. He pummels Goku into the ground, and for a second his hair turns red, but only for a second. Gohan intervenes, going into Super Saiyan 2 and kicking Broly to the side. He taps out of Ikari and apologizes. For the next month, Gohan helps Broly meditate while Goku trains in isolation, trying to push himself to unlock that power again. Gohan is able to help Broly control his power and unlock Ikari without raging out. It's difficult but manageable. Gohan moves slowly, taking steps to make sure that Broly is able to control the form, yet utilize all of its powers. After that happens, Gohan decides to move up to Super Saiyan. However, Broly's Super Saiyan ends up being very different than theirs, and once he's provoked into using it, it's bad for all of them. Goku and Gohan are attacked and nearly killed after Broly accesses Super Saiyan power. His hair seems to go back and forth between yellow and green. At the same time, the longer he fights, it seems that he's evolving. They wonder how he's able to use Super Saiyan Ikari without any training. Clearly, he's special. Training Broly helps Goku to unlock Super Saiyan God once more, and eventually they decide to come out. Beerus arrives on the planet, and Goku uses his God transformation to give him a good fight. Satisfied, Beerus lets them live, and Whis eventually comes back, taking not only Goku but also Broly and Gohan to train on Beerus' planet. Gohan thought that if he can help Broly unlock his power, he would be doing a friend a favor. Plus, he had Shin's promise that he could use the Kai's teleportation technique to bring him to Earth in case of any emergency problems, as well as any meetings. Whis helps Gohan unlock Super Saiyan God, and then Super Saiyan Blue alongside Goku. Goku is more easily able to utilize Kaioken on top of Blue because of his experience with doing it stacked with Ikari. As for Broly, Whis is trying his best to help him rage out, but not totally rage out. It seems Broly's power works off.
You said to my face that you never turn into the abomination anymore.
No, I said I choose not to.
Off of complete rage. To unlock all of its power, he needs to go in stages. First, mastering Super Saiyan, then what we call Super Saiyan Ikari, and finally the full power Super Saiyan, or what most of you guys like to call it, Legendary Super Saiyan, even though that's not what it technically is. Whis is able to help Broly unlock 2 of those. The last stage is slightly challenging, and unfortunately it's going to have to wait, as Frieza has just been revived. Like normal, Frieza would do his 4 months of training with Tagoma, while gathering his resources to attack Earth. Speaking of Earth, Paragus has been planning revenge against Tarbo, who is the son of King Vegeta. He realizes that he can't enact revenge on the king anymore because, well, he's dead, but his son is ripe and ready to die. But would he go through with this plan? I mean, there are clearly plenty of other Saiyans to kill him after, and Broly's friends with him, so would Broly side with his father? Or do you think that Earth would soften Paragus up, and he doesn't try to kill Tarbo or do something else? I'll leave that up to you guys, let me know in the comments. Nonetheless, Frieza arrives and he's ready to kill. Tarbo suits up and the other Z-Fighters, which only consists of humans. Piccolo is sealed and won't be helping. Gohan is on Beerus' planet, so this leaves all the humans to step up. Tarbo has managed to unlock Super Saiyan 2, so he does his best in defeating the army, which to say the least isn't that big of a deal. The army is easily disposed of. Tarbo takes care of Shizami, and Tagoma is a challenge, but the group are able to come up with a strategy. Tien uses a solar flare, and Tarbo goes on the attack while Krillin prepares a Destructo Disc, Roshi a Kamehameha, and Yamcha uses the Spirit Ball. All attacks at once overwhelm Tagoma, who is ended by a combined attack from Tien's Neo Tri-Beam and Tarbo's Gallic Gun. This gives the crew on Beerus' planet plenty of time to notice what's going on. Gohan uses his communication device with Shin so they can teleport to Earth, pretty much instantly. After arriving, it's Gohan who steps up to take on Frieza. While Goku would love to fight him again, Gohan wants to show off his newfound powers. Frieza and Gohan go hand to hand in their base forms. first to get a grip on each other's powers. Eventually, both use their full powers. Frieza uses Golden and Gohan Super Saiyan Blue. While in the original, Frieza was stronger than Goku, it's not the same case with Gohan. He's easily able to outspeed Frieza, landing a barrage of punches and kicks, followed by a Masenko which kills the Emperor. Gohan has no hesitation in doing what's necessary. Crisis averted, and this leads us to the Tournament of Destroyers. The team is quite different. Goku is pretty much the only person who was on the team that was originally. After him comes Gohan, Broly, Tien, and lastly, Tarble. The 3 years in the Room of Spirit and Time commence for both Goku, Gohan, and Broly. All managed to evolve what they were currently going at, with Broly finally managing to break the wall between his transformations. It took 3 years, but he managed to do it. Gohan, however, is on a completely different path. He has barely begun to scratch the surface of what he's trying to achieve, but he's trying to figure out whether or not God Ki and Ikari mix. But with that, let's get into the tournament. First up is actually Tarble. He wanted to see what he could achieve, so he goes up against Botamo, who is a pretty easy opponent to defeat. Tarble uses his quick thinking to stretch Botamo out of the ring. Pun intended. Tarble uses Super Saiyan 2 and takes Frost to his final form, but the Poison Needle comes into play, allowing Frost to win. Tien goes next, and he too loses because of the needle. It's at this point Jackal points this out, and with no Vegeta, Frost is simply disqualified. Broly is sent in next against Vegeta, and I would call this a fair match considering both are powerhouses. But the thing is, Vegeta might be a powerhouse body-wise, but Broly is a powerhouse. I don't think words would need to come into play. Broly might just defeat him with brute strength. However, I will give Vegeta the benefit of the doubt and say he takes Broly to Super Saiyan Ikari. After this, Cabba's up next, and while they have a good fight, Broly isn't a teacher, so Cabba does not pick up Super Saiyan here. He's defeated and Broly moves on to Hit. This final match is one of epic proportions. Hit has to go all out to even match up against Broly. His time skip has to increase multiple fold as the fight goes on, and Broly's taken aback. He doesn't know how to counter this. After getting knocked around and nearly pushed out of the ring, Broly rages out and uses his full-powered Super Saiyan form. The only thing that Broly knows is power. He doesn't really have the time to think of a strategy. Remember, Broly isn't educated or well-versed in any martial arts techniques, so he's only power. The ring is engulfed in a green aura, and Hit's pushed back. He tries to use time skip, but Broly breaks through it, and uses a beam from his mouth to knock him out of the ring. Universe 7 wins, and Zeno arrives. I think Broly wouldn't really understand Zeno, so Goku would have to step in and do it for him. Now the tricky thing here is Zamasu. I know everyone wants there to be a Broly Black, but that's just not going to happen. Broly didn't use any God Ki whatsoever in this fight. The only person that Zamasu knows of that did is Goku. While Goku didn't fight in this tournament, I'm sure he's aware of the fight that Goku and Beerus has that shook Universe 7 and even reached other universes. So this what if goes normally, with Zamasu taking Goku's body and becoming Goku Black. He attacks the future where it's future Gohan who defends. Last time we saw him, he had unlocked Super Saiyan Ikari, and I don't think it's far-fetched to assume he would have Super Saiyan 2 Ikari at this point as well. Black's first encounter doesn't go so well with the hero of the future. Gohan isn't one to play around, both in the present and in the future. He goes straight into his full power, and with this power, he demolishes Goku Black. After uncovering his face though, Gohan is taken aback, and in that moment of confusion, Black is able to escape. In the next encounter, Black is more powerful, but Gohan still has the lead. He asks a question which Black doesn't answer. Gohan goes with, well, what's the harm in killing you scenario, and does it. Goku Black stands a no chance in this timeline, so future Gohan kills him, and that's the end of that. However, we still have that other Zamasu problem, who still shows up and wreaks havoc. This time, Gohan can't kill him. Zamasu being immortal and all just doesn't die, even though there is an immense power gap between the two. This leads to Gohan requesting help from the Kais. In this story, Shin never dies because Gohan is strong enough to prevent his death by the hands of Deborah. Shin comes down with Kibido, and they talk to Gohan about the problem. Gohan reveals that Zamasu is immortal, and he knows a way they can solve this problem. He has the Supreme Kai locate New Namek, and he's teleported there, reuniting with Dende. They use Porunga to wish Zamasu's immortality away, and Gohan realizes that there are 2 more wishes since the Shenron's been upgraded. He sees his opportunity, and wishes back all the good people killed when the androids attacked all those years ago. Lastly, he restores all the damage done by Black and Zamasu. Afterwards, he thanks Dende for his huge help, and then goes back. After killing Zamasu, he reunites with the Z-Fighters. This leaves an actually happy ending for the future timeline, and that arc is completely avoided, leading us to the Tournament of Power.
The Z-Fighters are frantically looking for fighters to add on to their team. Without the inclusion of a future Zeno, there is no exhibition match, leading us directly into the build-up for the team. The first few are Goku, Gohan, Broly, and Tarble, followed by Tien, Roshi, Krillin, and Yamcha. This still leaves the group with 2 empty spots that need filling. Having already gotten everyone they can from Earth, Goku suggests
Surfer Sweeper Dry Cloths grab dust and hair and lock away. Better than a broom. Love it or your money back.
Crest 3D White Professional. Clinically proven whitening ingredients. 100% more stain removal. Crest.
Frieza. After a lot of debating with Tarble, Beerus decides that they might as well because they have no one else. Goku recruits him from Hell. However, we still need one more fighter. Another suggestion is handed out, this time from Gohan. Seeing that they've already included one bad guy from their past, might as well double up. He suggests Cell. Seeing that Cell possesses no threat as of now, they also get him. Both Frieza and Cell are sort of promised revival if Universe 7 wins, and if that's not compelling enough, the alternative is Beerus destroys them right here and now. Considering there was no exhibition match, the group have a little bit more time before they have to actually head out. Gohan's taking Cell into the Room of Spirit and Time because of this extended time. As of now, Yamcha's probably even more powerful than him, and that's my only Yamcha joke, I promise. The two don't hold back at all while training because they both hate each other, a lot, which makes them great training partners. Now I don't want to jump out here and say that Cell is going to end up getting some sort of golden or bronze form. I'm just going to say that considering he has Saiyan and Frieza DNA, he must have their potential to a degree. This, say, 5 months of training in the room provides a monstrous boost. Cell is able to surpass Frieza and even rival with Goku. On top of that, he managed to utilize a technique rather than a transformation, one that would be easy for him to use considering his regeneration capabilities. They all head off into the tournament, and not much would change right off the bat. Cell and Frieza decide to stick together, attacking people around the ring sadistically. While Frieza wants to add Frost to their merry band, Cell sees right through him. He knows that Frieza's going to turn his back on Frost eventually, so why waste their time with this fodder? While Frost thinks he's about to become part of a powerful team, Cell fakes a handshake and instead creates a powerful blast, which sends Frost flying out of the ring. Gohan has to bite his tongue and just let Cell do whatever he wants. At least he's eliminating fighters. He and Broly have stuck together, taking on opponents themselves. With no Piccolo, they haven't yet attracted the attention of the Namekians. They assist Goku with taking down Universe 9 before all three are confronted by Caulifla and Kale. Gohan wants to fight them, forcing Goku to back off. Now this is a big thing here. It's not Goku fighting them, it's Gohan. And neither of them have any sort of Super Saiyan transformations yet. Gohan isn't interested in teaching the two either. He's not like Goku. He's easily able to overpower Caulifla and is about to knock her out of the ring when Kale berserks out and accesses her Super Saiyan form, the Berserk one. Broly steps in to fight her. Sensing her power, he decides to use his full power, Super Saiyan Ikari. Of course, this isn't actually his full power. After remembering what Gohan told him about conserving energy, he only uses some attacks. Broly learned a lot over his time on Earth. He assesses the situation before entering the scene and uses enough force to take down Kale without using too much of his power. Kale tries to fight back, but her berserk state is making her extremely vulnerable. Broly is about to just throw her out, but Cell steps in, stabbing her with his tail. The energy should go to waste. He uses his power to boost his and replenish his stamina. He, alongside Frieza, takes on the large group of Universe 11 members. Frieza uses Golden, while Cell keeps his trump card in the pocket for now. They're pretty easily able to take down their guys. Universe 10 takes on the human Z-Fighters, who are all given a challenge. In an all-out war between them, the Z-Fighters lose Roshi, but manage to eliminate nearly everyone on Universe 10's team. Tien takes on their strongest fighter, Abni, while Krillin and Yamcha attack Rubal. Tien utilizes his multiplication, and instead of losing to a particularly useless fighter, he takes out a stronger opponent, sacrificing himself to do it. Krillin and Yamcha are able to eliminate Rubal with no casualties. Somewhere in the midst of all that, Jiren had attacked Goku, who accessed Ultra Instinct for the first time. Gohan and Broly come to his aid, healing him and then sticking alongside him. Cell was taking note to everything and does something to ensure his survival later on. He cuts off his arm and regrows it. That'll come into play later. Hit still attacks Jiren, which results in him getting knocked out. Kaba remains the only warrior left on the Universe 6 team, but he too is taken out fairly easily without a Super Saiyan form. At this point, Universe 3's robots attack Goku, but with Gohan and Broly to support him, they're forced to fuse into Anilaza pretty quickly. However, with even more fighters than originally, and a much stronger Gohan, as well as having Cell, they're able to defeat Anilaza with ease. Universe 4 stealth fighters, however, are able to take down the remaining humans on the team, and nearly kick off Gohan. Ironically enough, Cell had saved him. Eventually, with Cell's help and Gohan's strategy, they're able to take out Universe 4's fighter and move on to the final fight. Goku, Gohan, and Cell take on Jiren, while Frieza, Broly, and Tarble take on Toppo and Dispo. Frieza tries to solo Toppo, which he has some success with. Despite Dispo's speed, Tarbell is able to come up with a good strategy to defeat him. However, this does result in his elimination. Toppo is eventually pissed off enough by Frieza to use his God of Destruction form. Broly comes back and tries to help him, but both get smacked. However, Broly decides to go all out as he sees he needs to. Full power Super Saiyan Broly demolishes Toppo. It's not even a fight. He makes a joke out of Toppo's new power and removes him from the ring. Afterwards, he joins in the effort to take out Jiren. Jiren would have to go all out because of a huge force of people in front of him. Gohan saw the need to finally use his Super Saiyan Blue Ikari form, where he yields enough power to force Jiren to power up. Cell reveals his technique, being the Kaioken, which pushes Jiren to use more of his power. Goku is currently using his max as well, but with Broly's assistance, they are taking Jiren down. Frieza even joins along in the final effort, and it's not long before they take him out. Gohan will probably get the wish in competition with Cell. Whis revives Cell and Frieza for their efforts, which was an added bonus. Frieza heads off to reclaim his empire, while Cell doesn't really know what to do. Ruling a bunch of people doesn't sound fun. His original goal was to cause fear, but he's feeling good having done what he just did. He wants to fight. He wants to fight as many people as he can and stronger people. And it looks like the best place he can do that is Earth. He can keep track of Gohan's power while fighting him, getting a rematch with Goku, and even taking on that Broly guy whose power is absolutely insane. They get a period of training where Cell is able to further perfect his Kaioken, being able to push it to 20 times, like Goku. Speaking of, Goku's trying to achieve that Ultra Instinct power he used against Jiren. He got a flash of it in their final fight, but since then he hasn't been able to use it. He hasn't been pushed enough to use it. Cell has an idea to go into an all-out fight where they hold nothing back. They decide to go to a barren planet, and both are doing exactly that. Cell has activated Kaioken times 20, while Goku's using Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20. They're truly close in power, but Cell's regeneration is allowing him to better maintain the Kaioken. He's even able to take it up to 25 times for short bursts to do heavy damage to Goku. Cell backhands him before going for an uppercut, but this time Goku dodges as his hair turns silver. But just as it does, Goku loses it. They work on this for a while. Why is Cell doing this, you may ask? Well, it's like I said, he only wants a good fight, and the stronger his opponents are, the more powerful he gets. He even tracks down Frieza to spar with him every now and then. One day, Mirror would arrive on Earth in search of Majin Buu, who wasn't even revived this time around. Instead, he ends up recruiting Goku, Gohan, Broly, and even Cell to fight against Moro. Cell is obviously interested in fighting new people, so he's all for it. Everything goes the same up until the fight on Namek. Goku tries to fight Moro, but the result is the same as in the original. His power is drained all the way until he's on death's door. Gohan and Broly jump in to try and stop Moro, but from the boost he got by fighting Goku, he's able to avoid them for the most part. Broly's doing heavy damage, but after he takes care of Gohan, he's able to drain the rest of Broly, and this gives him a large amount of power, a humongous power boost. Cell introduces himself, and then takes a fighting stance. He hadn't just been standing there watching the Z-Fighters get beat. Well, he was doing that, but he was also observing how Moro fights, and what his techniques are. He puts up an energy shield around himself in hopes of not being drained. He attacks Moro, making clones of himself to attack him from every single angle, keeping Moro busy while he pulls out his tail and stabs him, stealing Moro's energy. Getting a taste of his own medicine, Moro launches a burst of energy before curve stomping Cell's head. He kicks Cell up and uses a blast from his mouth to send him across the planet. For now, Moro is able to make his wishes. The group are healed after some time, and Cell starts to scout out what's going on. He healed quicker than the others by simply destroying his body and growing from a single cell. He tells everyone what they have to do, as Mirror comes in with the reinforcements. They're against this plan, but it looks like the only way. Mirror picks everyone up on a ship, and Cell flies into space, luring Moro away with him. Before Moro could even think of what he was going to do, Cell blows Namek up to kill all his allies at the same time. Take away a major power source from Moro as well. Now that everyone's healed up, they start training with Mirror. Goku's able to finally unlock Ultra Instinct, while Broly, Gohan, and Cell focus on increasing their power. When Moro attacks Earth, everyone is already there, prepared. Cell doesn't give Goku the time to do anything. He steps in and uses all his power combined with Kaioken times 50 to attack Moro. He's able to do considerable damage using an array of techniques. He creates a clone of himself like before, but this time power isn't being split. He's actually created a fully powered version of himself. Mirror taught him how to do that one. Cell starts shooting out death beams and then uses a perfect Kamehameha to kill Moro. Only he forgot in his assault that Moro can just absorb it. Cell is tired out when Goku jumps in front of him using Ultra Instinct to beat down on Moro. With no 7-3 to run to and backed up against the wall by Goku, who has backup, I might add, Moro has no choice but to, well, die. He doesn't take Goku's offer, and in that moment, Cell had gotten up, teleported far away, and charged a blast. He pulls a page out of Goku's book and uses instant transmission to go right in front of Moro, blowing him to Kingdom Come. And this ends our journey. I hope you guys did enjoy What If Goku Learned Ikari. It was the 1,000 subscriber special, which was a massive milestone for me. Please like, subscribe, and comment what you thought down below. It's been your boy Stan, and I'll see you next time.
All right, what do you got to say about that?
There you have it. I'm kind of bummed that they just kind of opt Vegeta like that, but I understand it for the sake of the story. I understand it.
Yeah, I posted the video in the chat if they want to. But I kind of see that now. I kind of wish that he would have mixed Hikari and Ultra Instinct together. That would have been something. I mean, he already stacked it. What, Super Saiyan 2 and the Kaioken? So
it was definitely ambitious. I'll give him that.
But I thought that'd have been a perfect, I guess, sneak peek of what if it was introduced early. And I feel like Goku would have been the perfect candidate for that, because teaching it to Gohan, then instead of Trunks you got future Gohan. I mean, it kind of made sense.
I agree,
especially future Gohan. Now him taking out Goku Black, like, I mean, you thought Black would have put up more of a fight. He didn't even get a chance to go Rose, just disintegrate.
Well, what do you think would be a good topic for next week?
Demon Slayer, and we also have some Budokai Tenkaichi 4 leaks that I want to go over too. Actually, we can go over it right now. It's supposedly rumored to drop Budokai Tenkaichi 4 in September of 2023.
Nice. Only 6 months.
Yep, that's what is going around right now. So, which is kind of new because Dragon Ball games only drops January, February, and November and December.
Yep.
In September. I hope this game has been at least years in development, because that's kind of early than what I was expecting. Very early. Because we got the trailer, last month? So, yeah, it's kind of a little soon that I've heard of a Dragon Ball game dropping.
I agree. But, hold on a moment. I'm just trying to look something up. How big I wonder if you've ever heard of this what if.
Hope it ain't longer than mine, because mine was a whole story.
What if this first fight in Z ended rather differently?
Oh, what if Reddit's turned good? Yeah, that's an old video.
Hey guys, Masako X here, and welcome back to another What If Week! We are back with some interesting scenarios to get your grey matter going. Last month, we talked about the possibilities that befell Bulma if she never met Goku, what if Piccolo fused early with Kami, and what would be the result if Kid Goku went Super Saiyan a lot earlier than he was supposed to. Pretty outlandish stuff, don't you think? So let's continue that trend with quite possibly one of the most requested what-ifs I have received thus far. What if Raditz turned good? Goku's brother from the depths of space. Our ticket to the stars. One that only stuck around for about 5 episodes before being killed by a special beam cannon by Piccolo, taking Goku with him. But that's besides the point. What if we were to say that the events of that fight somehow changed in a way that resulted in a long-lost relative of Cousin It from the Addams family surviving? Since Raditz does not make his mark until the end of the Dragon Ball arc and the beginning of the Z arc, around about chapter 195 of the original manga, the events of the original Dragon Ball series are pretty much the same as they were, with Goku and Piccolo remaining bitter rivals and Gohan being born. Raditz arrives on Earth and is shocked, disappointed, and annoyed to not only see the Earth pristine, but thriving. Clearly, his little brother needs a good talking to. Or he's dead. Whatever the reason, he has to do something about it. After coming across Piccolo and teasing him about his weaker power level, which is something that Raditz does a lot, he senses a slightly greater power level and goes off to investigate. At this time, he doesn't know it's his little brother because Saiyans at the time relied solely on their scouters, instead of having the ability to sense powers naturally. He finds Goku at Kame House, and the events of the manga and the anime play out as you would expect. Him informing his younger brother about his Saiyan origins, as well as the fate of their race. After Goku refuses to join his brother in arms, Raditz kidnaps his nephew and flees the scene. This is the point where Goku and Piccolo reluctantly join sides, despite being bitter enemies for the longest time. They have to fight Raditz in order to save the Earth and Gohan. Yeah, I know, this is the story that you're very familiar with and I've really not deviated. Well, don't worry, this is where I start to do so. We are about to divert from this well-trodden path. Well-trodden path. We have now reached the point where Piccolo is about to fire the special beam cannon. Now let's just say, like in Xenoverse 1's alternate telling, that Raditz just about manages to muster enough strength to free himself of Goku's grasp. He has just enough time to dodge the special beam cannon, whilst that hits Goku dead on. Oops, Piccolo just done killed the main character. Now Raditz has escaped being turned into Saiyan Swiss cheese, but he is still winded and injured from his spat with Gohan. You know, that moment where Gohan just launches himself at Raditz and kind of body slams him in the...
You count as a dependent, right? No.
Tax.
Stomach? Now let's say in this instance that impact left more of an injury than it did in the anime. At this point, Piccolo would have been rather conflicted about the whole incident. Yeah, he kind of let the enemy escape, but at the same time, he managed to best his rival, Goku. At this point, he'd be doing a lot of processing and not really paying attention to Raditz. Now, Raditz would have used this time to fire an energy blast in Piccolo's direction, giving him a quick getaway whilst being able to recover from his injuries in solitude. Wait, what? Raditz, run away? That's not like him, Masako. Ah, well, I think it is entirely like him. Now, you see, Raditz may be more like the archetypal Saiyan than Goku is, but he is still slightly different from the stereotype. He's a trickster and a manipulator, but he does have a level of empathy which kind of elevates him from the typical Saiyan. Now that I think about it, all of Raditz's relatives are somewhat different from normal Saiyans. You know, Bardock, Gine, Kakarot, Raditz. They're all much more empathic. If he was truly a cold-blooded killer, he would have killed Goku on the spot for failing to do his job of destroying the planet, terraforming it, and preparing it for Lord Frieza. Nope. He gave his brother many chances to change his mind and join him, although granted some of those instances were traps. Also, more importantly, Raditz is a bit of a coward. He fears death greatly, and is shocked to see that Goku would even contemplate sacrificing himself. That's not something a typical Saiyan would say. A normal Saiyan, if they were in a similar situation to what Raditz and Goku were in, would have commended Goku for his wise and cunning strategy. They would have been impressed by Goku's actions. Not Raditz. He was horrified. If you saw Raditz as your first true example of the Saiyan race, you wouldn't really think much of them. This also might explain why Raditz is so weak in comparison to Vegeta and Nappa. His less valiant persona probably gave him fewer opportunities to get a Zenkai boost. You know, getting to the brink of death and then healing up. He probably did that far less often by just not being there because he was scared. So whilst Raditz escapes, the main gang arrives. Like in the anime, Piccolo makes the decision to take Gohan and train him, just in case that Raditz guy came back to try and finish the job. So Piccolo's doing the same thing that he did in the anime, but for slightly different reasons. He's not aware of the incoming Saiyans, Vegeta and Nappa. As far as he's concerned, it's just Raditz. With a little bit of training and some assistance from Goku's brat, they could take him on, no problem, that's fine. They could take out that long-haired maniac. Speaking of Vegeta and Nappa, they have heard everything that's been going on Earth. Remember, those scouters were open the entire time. Once Raditz has been able to recover enough so he can converse with the Saiyans, which is about a day or two, he reports back about what happened in great detail. Vegeta would have mocked Raditz for being so weak and allowing these pesky Earthlings to get the better of him. Also, he would have made fun of Raditz for having such a weak brother who couldn't do his job properly, and therefore branded him and Kakarot a complete and utter waste of space. As far as the principal Saiyans was concerned, Raditz' incompetence on Earth was the last straw, and he would tell Raditz not to return to Vegeta and Nappa's company. But before Vegeta can say this though, Nappa jumps in and says that Piccolo guy sounded kind of fun and that he wants to try and fight him. He wants to check out that Earth and pay that green guy a visit. Well, they've got nothing better to do, so with his interest piqued, Vegeta agrees to go to Earth and fight Piccolo, using the coordinates that Raditz provided through his scouter transmissions. Raditz pleads with Vegeta to let him help the two, but Vegeta is having none of it. He gives Raditz an ultimatum: either stay out of their way when they arrive on Earth, or die. Vegeta cuts comms with Raditz, leaving the Saiyan completely isolated and alone. He now has nothing. His planet gone, his friends gone, and even his long-lost brother is gone. What does he do now? He's a disgrace to the entire Saiyan race. But he can't just sit back and take what Vegeta and Nappa has said, even if he is the Prince of all Saiyans. He's got to do what's best for his race and come out strong. Rise to the occasion. After a few weeks to further recover from his wounds, he decides to pay Piccolo a visit and try and find him somewhere in the mountains. He uses his scouter to try and search for Piccolo's power level. He notices that the power level has increased slightly, and that there is another power level there with him. But due to the fact that I think that the scouter's battery is starting to weaken, he can't get a precise location for the two. Just a general direction, like say, oh, they're about so many miles northwest or something. He flies off in that direction to search for Piccolo and Gohan. Because Raditz cannot manipulate his energy and try and suppress it so that gives him cover, Piccolo can easily sense Raditz approaching, and therefore change his location quite easily. For the next few weeks, it's a subdued game of cat and mouse. One night, though, things change. Gohan looks at the full moon, and so does Raditz. This results in both of them changing into great apes, not that far from each other. And you know what that means? Big great ape fight!
Okay, I can see that. Great Ape Raditz versus Great Ape Gohan. I feel like Gohan would have had that.
Two Saiyan apes duking it out, with Raditz being the stronger and being far more in control of his actions than Gohan is. During this battle, he can sense that Gohan is actually quite powerful for his age. Piccolo is watching this with utter horror and destroys the moon before Gohan could potentially be seriously hurt or indeed killed. The two revert to their humanoid forms, with Gohan left completely out cold and Raditz chuckling, putting on some kind of bravado. Piccolo is about to launch a barrage of ki attacks at Raditz, but Raditz stops him, saying that he shouldn't bother and it's completely pointless. He then uses this moment to inform Piccolo about Vegeta and Nappa's impending arrival. The fact that these two Saiyans are far stronger than he, so Piccolo shouldn't do anything rash. Raditz could help them. Raditz then puts on an act, saying he's so remorseful for his brother's death and has come to respect his younger brother now that he has passed away, and that out of respect, he wants to help them and change sides.
That's bull.
Goodwill. Piccolo doesn't trust him one bit, but at the same time, two immensely strong Saiyans is much more of a concern than one mediocre Saiyan. If you're having to deal with 3 Saiyan warriors, it's better to have one of them on your side, right? Better the devil you know and all that. Whilst this has been going on, Goku has proceeded to King Kai's place via Snake Way like he did in the anime and the manga. The difference is that Goku is not aware of Vegeta and Nappa's impending arrival on Earth. But King Kai is, though. He is the Kai of North Galaxy, after all, and would notice 2 particularly powerful Saiyans heading in the direction of Earth, and that spelling not exactly good news. He would impress upon Goku to train harder than he ever has before in his life, much more than he did on the planet in the anime. So everything will kind of catch up. As the 2 Saiyans head for Earth, Raditz, Gohan, and Piccolo are training with each other. Both Piccolo and Gohan are extremely untrusting of Raditz, but they believe that just to play along with this guy is a lot better than ending up dead. Hey, I guess they're just being grateful for that, I suppose. Then one night, Raditz asks about his brother and what he was like. Gohan says fondly that his daddy is the greatest and strongest fighter on Earth, beating every single guy in his path, even Mr. Piccolo. Piccolo annoyingly confirms this and says that not only is Goku a great fighter, but a very honorable warrior at the same time. This is a big deal for Piccolo, because this is not something he would easily say. Raditz is actually kind of impressed, and this is where his bravado begins to falter. He recalls his own childhood, and how lonely it was. If you're familiar with the events of Toyball's Dragon Ball Zero fan manga, you'll know where I'm going with this. If not, I shall summarize it by the fact that Raditz did not have a good childhood. It's kind of obvious if you think about it. Bardock and Gine, his parents are dead, Kakarot's somewhere out in space, Raditz is left alone, just at the hands of Lord Frieza. Vegeta and Nappa, they're not friends. They're picking on him for being so weak and having a useless father that doomed everyone. Raditz was treated with contempt. What do you expect? By showing this vulnerability, finally, Piccolo and Gohan can sense that Raditz is not all that bad. On the inside, he is a scared and lonely soul. Raditz even goes so far as to apologize for Goku's
sympathy
demise,
for
but
Raditz.
quickly regains his bravado and macho vibe. This is where Piccolo decides to share with Raditz that they plan to wish Goku back with the Dragon Balls. Inspired by this news, Raditz is completely revitalized, and Gohan and Piccolo continue to train with him with much more vigor, bringing Tenshinhan, Yamcha, Krillin, and Chaozu into the mix as well. By the time the Saiyans arrive, Raditz is a lot stronger. Strong enough to even hold his own against Nappa somewhat. The Z-Warriors meet up with Vegeta and Nappa as they do in the anime. Vegeta mocks Raditz and tells him that he signed his own death warrant for showing up. He has come to accept that he is weaker than Vegeta, but he doesn't care. He is going to fight for the Saiyan race and make Vegeta rue the day that he banished him from his side. Raditz is a true Saiyan. We then jump to the place in the story where Nappa is about to use his break cannon against Gohan. Sure enough, Piccolo does jump in front of Gohan, but then Raditz jumps in front of Piccolo. Raditz is stronger than Piccolo during this arc, so instead of being completely and mortally wounded, he is able to take it and just about stand up, looking completely badass in the process. He would stand up, snigger, and laugh at Nappa for his feeble attack. Is that the best you can do, Nappa? We then get a
Yeah, I can see it.
short but well choreographed fight between Raditz and Nappa, which gives Piccolo enough time to get Gohan out of the way. Goku then arrives to witness Raditz fighting Nappa and is rather confused about the situation. Are they supposed to be on the same side? Vegeta was slightly amused at this fight, but now he's completely bored of it. He shoots a bang beam at Raditz's heart, stopping him dead in his tracks. Literally. Raditz is fatally injured and he falls down to the ground. Goku uses this time to head over to Piccolo and Gohan to check whether they're okay. They then tell Goku about Raditz, how he's changed, and how he's now on their side. Goku's still kind of confused though, so he walks over to Raditz to try and get some more answers out of him, with Nappa laughing on from the sidelines, saying about how they look too cute together, the siblings. Raditz looks up at Goku and is glad to see him again. He apologizes for his behavior the last time they met. Raditz tells Goku that he knows all about his little brother's fights and how proud he is of him because he's gotten so strong. He can sense the potential in Goku to make the Saiyan race proud, much more so than Vegeta and Nappa, and how he can take those two bastards out. If only our father could see us now, he'd say, taking on a prince and beating him. Who'd have thought? Goku thanks Raditz for his help in keeping Gohan safe, as well as even forgiving Raditz for his original transgression in kidnapping Gohan in the first place. Raditz chuckles and slips away from consciousness. Goku is left saddened and angered, and proceeds to body slam Nappa as he does in the anime. And thusly, the events of the Saiyan saga continue to play out as per normal. Only this time, Piccolo is around to watch the action unfold. So there we go. If Raditz turned good, he would have saved Piccolo's life, as well as adding some extra narrative nuance to proceedings in the Saiyan saga. Raditz had come to the conclusion that if he were to be just left alone, just fending for himself on planet Earth, Vegeta would have eventually found him and killed him on the spot. Owing to the fact that Raditz is scared of death, it would be a better idea to side with other people who are vaguely strong, just to give him a better chance at surviving. You know, safety in numbers. Now, this doesn't mean he's become a flat-out good guy. That would be completely nonsensical for any Saiyan in this point in the story. My definition of good at this point is someone who isn't Vegeta.
Well, that's a very interesting topic. I mean, yeah, I can see Piccolo still being alive, and yeah, that definitely makes sense. Also, like I could really follow that. I can't hear you.
Yeah, as I was saying, there's more than one part of this, but you could tell this first part was originally a one shot and then it just blew up from there. But you could tell this was a one shot with the way it's structured.
Yeah, but he hit some real points. If I guess if Reddit's did turn good, the story would have hit differently in the beginning.
Definitely, and I think this goes on to be a multi-parter. But we're already at the hour and 25-minute mark. You want to go for part 2, or you think we should call it?
I think why don't we schedule part 2 of what if we can make that can be our episode for next week. What if Reddit's turned good, or make a whole Reddit's episode?
Definitely. Well, it's been the boys, Jay Heat and Kid Takeoff, the dynamic duo, and we will see you
next week.
Next time.